My hair looks funny. I don't care. Oh, come on. Charge me up. Charge. Okay. Now don't move. Funny taste, funny aftertaste. Hello, anybody there? Is anybody there? Geraniums. One time, I was in the car with my brother. And and I took out my geranium oil and I opened it. It was so nice. And he was like, "What the hell is that smell?" And he opened up all the windows and he was quite offended. I don't understand. It smells so good. It's like a garden. Geranium. It's kind of rosy. Hello, I'm home. I'm doing okay. I'm hot. I have my wig on. I did a little thing here. I don't have any bobby pins in, so it might fall out. This is a lot of hair and it's very heavy, so I could just roll it around and it stayed like that. But it's still insanely hot, but at least it's not all over here, right? So, oh, look, I read this much book in the hospital, which isn't very much. I spent most of my time on my phone, which is bad. I didn't bring a notebook or anything. I would have written, and I didn't bring any knitting. I just brought the bare essentials because I didn't know I would be there for a week. I'm going to turn my brightness up a little. Hopefully we don't lose battery power. I don't get disconnected. So I'm going to start all over at the beginning with Mystery at the Ski Jump. Let's start right now. I might have to take my hair off at some point. Don't be scared, okay? Nancy Drew Mystery Stories, number 29, Mystery at the Ski Jump by Carolyn Keene. Copyright 1968, Simon & Schuster. It also says Grosse and Dunlap. Published by Grosse and Dunlap. Copyright Simon & Schuster. Grosse and Dunlap. Okay, whatever. Chapter 1, The Strange Woman. Brr, it's cold. Nancy Drew shivered and pulled the collar of her coat higher against the driving snow. Determinedly, she ducked her head and pushed along the darkening street. A new pair of skis slung over one shoulder. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a long black car skidded across the sidewalk directly in front of the titian-haired 18-year-old girl. "Oh!" Nancy cried out, leaping back just in time to keep from being hit. A second later, the car crashed into the porch of a nearby house. As Nancy dashed forward to see if the driver were hurt, the door of the house flew open and the excited owner, Mrs. Martin, rushed out. "What happened?" she called. Then, seeing the car, Mrs. Martin ran down the snowy steps. "Is someone hurt?" Nancy had already opened the door on the driver's side. A slender woman in a fur coat was slumped across the steering wheel. "Help me bring her into the house," Mrs. Martin directed. Nancy laid down her skis. Together they carried the unconscious stranger inside and put her on a sofa in the living room. "I believe she's only stunned," Nancy announced, pressing her fingers to the victim's wrist. "Her pulse is regular and the color's coming back to her cheeks." "Just the same, I think we should call Dr. Britt," Mrs. Martin said nervously. "Will you do it, Nancy? The phone's in the hall. I'll get a blanket upstairs to put over this woman. Nancy went to call the doctor. The line was busy, and it was a few minutes before she could get a connection. Dr. Britt is out, the nurse reported, but I'll give him your message. Thank you. Mrs. Martin came downstairs with a blanket, and Nancy told her Dr. Britt would stop there as soon as possible. Doctor? Who wants a doctor? An annoyed voice called from the living room. I certainly don't need one. Say, how did I get here? Nancy and Mrs. Martin were amazed to see the woman driver sitting up on the sofa. She was removing a makeup kit from the pocket of her coat. She calmly began to powder her face and dab on some exotic perfume as Mrs. Martin explained what had happened. It was the storm, was all the unexpected visitor said. Quickly, Nancy appraised the woman. She was about 35, strikingly handsome with blue-black hair, pale skin, and high cheekbones. I would never want to be described as handsome. An expensive-looking mink coat was draped nonchalantly over her slim shoulders. Why, Mrs. Channing, Mrs. Martin said suddenly. I didn't recognize you. I'm glad you feel better. Nancy, this is Mrs. Channing from the Forest Fur Company. Mrs. Channing, I'd like you to meet Nancy Drew. She lives here in River Heights with her father, a famous lawyer. And Nancy herself is one of the best young detectives I ever... Lawyer? Detective? Mrs. Channing cried out. There was such a sharp expression in her dark blue eyes when she looked at Nancy that the girl felt slightly embarrassed. At least Dad is a fine lawyer, Nancy said, smiling. Sometimes he asks me to help him on his cases. Your work must be interesting too, Mrs. Channing. I've never heard of the Forest Fur Company. Where is it? Oh, we have branches all over the country. Mrs. Channing started to rise from the sofa, but fell back weakly. I think you really should see a doctor, Nancy suggested kindly. You're still shaky from the accident. I'll be all right, Mrs. Channing answered emphatically. Perhaps if I could have, if I could, hello, can I read this sentence? Can I finish? Perhaps if I could have a cup of tea. Nancy turned to Mrs. Martin. I think I'd better run along, she said. Oh, it's so cold outside. Do stay and have some tea with us. It won't take a minute. Thank you, but I really can't, Nancy replied. I'm leaving with Dad on a trip in the morning, and I have a lot of packing to do. Nancy was looking forward to helping her father on a case in Montreal and enjoying some skiing. That's where I live, Montreal. For some reason, I thought it took place in Alberta. Oh. He had promised to tell her about his work at dinner that night. A few minutes later, she was shaking the snow from her coat and boots on the back porch of the Drew home. Opening the kitchen door, she called, Hi, Hannah. I'm back. Well, I'm certainly relieved, replied a motherly voice from the hall. Stop ya shouting. Pipe down out there. Well, I'm certainly relieved, replied a motherly voice from the hall. What a storm! Did you buy the skis? Yes, I did. They're real beauties. I can't wait to use them in Montreal. Nancy recalled with pleasure her ski weekend there the previous winter. What a wonderful feeling to stand on top of the mountain in the cold, crisp, sunny morning with the white world below her. Then off, down the fast trail to the bottom, concentrating on every turn and twist as the challenging trail demanded. Nancy had become so proficient that she had won the novice ladies slalom race, successfully turning through all the slalom gates in the fastest time. Nancy smiled to herself as she thought of the slalom gates, which were really just flags on tall poles stuck in the snow. Funny looking gates. Okay, Carolyn Keene, whatever you say. The Drews' middle-aged housekeeper walked into the kitchen and smiled affectionately at Nancy. Hannah Gruen had been with the family ever since Mrs. Drew had died when Nancy was a small child. I was delayed by an accident, Nancy explained what had happened. I'm afraid Mrs. Martin's porch will need a lot of repairing. The conversation was interrupted by a telephone call from Nancy's friend, Ned Nickerson, inviting her to a fraternity dance at Emerson College the next month. She accepted gaily, then went upstairs to start packing. 5 minutes later, Hannah bustled into the room. "Look what I have to show you," the housekeeper exclaimed. Nancy's eyes gleamed. "A mink stole! It's beautiful!" "It was such a bargain, I couldn't resist it," Hannah explained excitedly. "I've always wanted a fur stool, but never felt I could afford it." Nancy took the fur piece and laid it around her own shoulders. "It's gorgeous," she said. "Where did you buy it?" "From a simply charming woman," Hannah replied. "She represents the Forest Fur Company. You see, she had already sold a stool to my friend Esther Mills, and Esther suggested—" Nancy was not listening. At mention of the Forest Fur Company, her thoughts went racing back to the mysterious Mrs. Channing. "Nancy, do you think I was foolish?" the housekeeper asked anxiously as the girl frowned. "I'm not sure," Nancy answered absently. "It does look like a good fur piece, but it's an odd way to sell expensive furs. Good afternoon." "I hope everything's all right," said Hannah, a worried look replacing her former eagerness. "I also invested some money in Forest Fur Company stock. The woman, Mrs. Channing, sold me 10 shares. I paid her $50 for it. But I'm sure it's okay. I have the certificate in my bureau drawer." "Where is this woman staying?" Nancy asked. "Why, I don't know. She didn't tell me." At that moment, Nancy heard the front door close and the sound of her father's firm footsteps in the hall. She put her arm about Hannah's shoulders and gave her a comforting squeeze. "Don't worry. I'll run down and talk this over with Dad," she assured the housekeeper. "Perhaps he knows the Forest Fur Company." Check battery check. Whoa. My brain's hot. My brain is hot. "Hello, dear. Hello, dear." "Hello, dear." Tall, handsome Carson Drew met his daughter at the bottom step and kissed her. "Do I detect a worried look in those pretty blue eyes?" "Well, something's on my mind," Nancy admitted. She told her father about Mrs. Channing and the Forest Fur Company. "I've never heard of the firm," the lawyer remarked when she finished. "But I certainly don't like the way they do business. No reliable company would peddle expensive furs and stock from door to door at bargain prices. Please ask Hannah to let me see her certificate." After reading it, he admitted it looked all right, but added that he thought the company should be investigated. "Mrs. Channing must still be at Mrs. Martin's," Nancy said excitedly. "Suppose I go over there and talk to her?" "Fine," Carson Drew nodded. I'll join you. We can't let our Hannah be taken in by swindlers. The Martin home was only 2 blocks away. As the Drews reached it, Nancy noticed that Mrs. Channing's car was gone. She dashed up the broken porch steps and rang the bell hurriedly. The door swung open. Mrs. Martin, Nancy asked, has Mrs. Channing left already? Yes. Mrs. Martin's eyes blazed. To put it bluntly, Nancy, Mrs. Channing ran out on me. When I brought that tea she asked for, she was gone. And her car, too. And not one word did she say about paying for the damage she did to my porch. What's her address? Nancy asked quickly. Mrs. Martin looked startled. I don't know. End of chapter 1. Bookmark change. Well, that was pretty exciting, right? Has our dear Hannah been swindled? Gosh, I hope not. Hoo-wee. You know what would be so nice right now? Lemonade. Oh gosh, I am tired from being in the hospital. Well, I was discharged, but then I had a plastic surgeon appointment at 11:45. So I had to go from one end of the hospital to the other because I was at this end of the hospital and my appointment's at this end. I'm sure there was a faster way to get there, but I took the way I know. And then I had to wait quite a while. Like it was mostly waiting. And then the resident doctor saw me and asked me all these questions, blah, 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 blah. And then she's like, okay, Dr. Dionysiopoulos, we'll see you in a minute. And then he came in, he like touched me and whatnot. And he was like, when's your chemotherapy over? And I'm like, I don't know, in a long time. He's like, come back, see me then. Everything's fine. So everything's fine. And I couldn't remember what time my appointment is tomorrow. So I went to the, right. Plastic surgeon was on area. And so I could ask them what time my appointment is tomorrow. Blood tests at 10, and then I see the doctor at 11. And then the next day, 10:30 is my second chemo. So geez-a-loo. And then I had to come home from the hospital. Then I lay on my bed for a while. Oh, water. This water tastes a little funny. I think it's because it's been sitting in the pitcher in my fridge forever. How's everyone doing? I'm hot. My new wig is on its way. Hi, so good to see you live. Your hair is adorable. Thank you. My blonde hair. It's coming down. I can't wait for winter. Seriously? I mean, I wear hats and stuff, but this is like a hat too. It's going to keep my head warm. Now let me show you. My hair started falling out day before yesterday, right? And like it won't all come out. It's if I grab it and just give it a little pull, like more comes out. But I think if I like put some shampoo on there and do a little some more of it will come out. Because I mean, come on, can you please all come out? Because this looks silly. It looks silly just to have like a little bit there. And then it came out here. It came out here too. I wish it would come off my legs. I hope I don't lose my eyebrows. I put some pencil in there because I bleached them to go with my, see that? Ooh. I'm wearing pink eyeshadow. But yeah, this is one hot wig. Oh, there goes my button, right? Heck? So glamorous. I don't know why I think of like some blonde bimbo on Three's Company. I want to be a blonde Three's Company bimbo. No, I don't want to be a bimbo. I want to be smart like Terry. Who's your favorite of the, I'm sure some of you know Three's Company, right? Aside from Janet, because she was there the whole time, who's your favorite of the blonde roommates? There's Chrissy, and then her cousin Cindy, and then Terry. I like Terry, the nurse. She was smart. She wore really cute clothes. Oh, I think it was like early 80s by then. And the clothes are starting to look more 80s than 70s. And she wore some really cute outfits. Chrissy was funny at times, but a bit too stupid for my taste. Who's your favorite, Mr. Roper or Mr. Furley? Mr. Furley all the way. Furley forever. I love Mr. Furley. I'm going to stick it back on the wall. Oh, Lord. It is hot outside. See, there's the inside. It's all lacy and stuff. Please don't fall down. Whoo, boy. Whoo, boy. All right. So, how many of you have read this book before? The next chapter is called A Serious Loss. Oh, let me show you the picture from chapter 1. There's a picture of, I'm good. I had cataract surgery, new lenses. Oh, I hope you're feeling okay. I hate eye stuff being done. My sister shaved her head when she had chemo. I shaved it on June 8th. It was like growing back. And I was like, oh, look at it grow back. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, it's all gone. But I don't mind. I mean, I was expecting that, obviously. Otherwise, I wouldn't have shaved it. My terrarium is doing well. I came home and I was like, oh, my terrarium, are you still alive? Because it's been a week since I tended to it. So I just gave it a miss, and it's still very green and foresty. So here is a picture of, I'm going to have to start off soon because even though it says I'm charging, I keep losing battery. Doctor, who wants a doctor? The woman protested. Now look at Nancy's pose here. Look at how she's standing. Isn't it awkward and strange? Very odd. There's Mrs. Channing, a very handsome woman. The first time I read this, I thought it said Mrs. Marvin, that it was Bess's mom. And when she told Nancy where the phone is, I was like, she already knows where the phone is. It's her best friend's house. Then I realized it's not Mrs. Marvin. It's Mrs. Martin. Have you thought of a silk scarf wrap? There's lots of pretty ones. I have some scarves, but like I have to figure out how to tie them so they don't fall off and all that. I always wear a hat in summer, so like I have my hat with me all the time, my big floppy straw hat. But yeah, or if I can get one that's like already tied, you know. But it has to be a really nice pattern and stuff. Is this one still here? The one that I got at the hospital while I was just sitting there. Like, I don't really like this pattern. It's too busy for me. But this is supposed to be like, you can wear it 5 million different ways. Personally, I find it a bit hot. It's like a t-shirt fabric, which I find very hot. Plus, it's like heavy and stuff, you know. Not heavy, it's what's that word? Kind of tight and squeezy. But like the picture on the paper that came with it, it showed all these different ways to wear it. And I'm like, I have no idea how to do any of those things. I think I'm about to get disconnected for some reason. So, oh, no, it's just the clinic. Oh my God, will the hospital ever stop calling me? Y'all have to leave a voicemail because I'm busy. I have to take it off right now because it's like hot. Ugh. And I have to, oh, it's my phone noise. Okay, I was like, where's that music coming from? I have to like moisturize my head or something. It's like a little dry. Oh, Lordy Bagordy, it is hot. I do not want to go back outside, but I would like to get a big old thing of lemonade. Yeah, when I go like this, like all these dry skin falls off. That's disgusting. Sorry. My apologies if anyone's eating. Oh, I just gotta breathe. Oh, yeah. Ooh, I have to change my calendar. Remind me to change my calendar, okay? Tomorrow I have to go to the grocery store because I have like nothing to eat. Oh man, hospital. Friday, no hospital. Gosh. Oh, right. All my anti-nausea meds. I went to the drugstore after I got back from the hospital. And tomorrow I'll have to go pick up my meds for chemo so that I don't toss my cookies. All right. I might be too tired and hot to do another Hidden Staircase chapter tonight, but I wanted to do a live and start this wonderful book. I love the colors on here. Isn't it great? The bright green glove and earmuff and matching title. Very nice, very nice. We have someone over here at a snowman. I have not read that part yet. So I hope you enjoy the book, and please, if you're in a hot place, stay cool, okay? And stay gold like Pony Boy. Do it for Johnny. Pity the back seat. We don't need your damn charity. Sorry, I really like The Outsiders. Oh, we had started reading that. Maybe we'll read some more of that after. And we should finish reading that Robert Frost poem that we didn't understand. I didn't understand it, and then I read the like intro thing to it, and it explained a lot. I gotta take this off. This is where I had my antibiotics going in me. Then they switched me to pills, and the antibiotics are over now. Yay. So I'm gonna go bye-bye now, and what day is it? Tuesday? Yes. Tuesday, August 2. Toodaloo. Thank you, Sheila. Bye, everybody.